Hello, welcome back to the channel. So we've basically just had the Jag XJ dropped off. Essentially that's been dropped off a ridiculous time of night. So it got dropped off at 10 o'clock at night. It's on my grand's drive as well, so obviously another thing that made it sort of quite annoying, because obviously trying to be as subtle as possible with where that is, and hopefully we'll be able to get it off that driveway as soon as possible and out of her way. But yeah, anyway, it's turned up last night, and yeah, it's got quite a bit more damage than actually was kind of described on Copart. The way I'm looking at it is that this is kind of luck of the draw. We're buying salvage cars through an auction. That's unfortunately just what you've got to sort of expect. You're going to get some wins, you're going to get probably quite a few losers as well. Obviously the more information, the more sort of you can do. Copart do provide a service where you can sort of have video tour around the vehicles. I've not chosen to do that on any of the ones I've purchased through there so far. So again, maybe that's something where in the future I'll look to do, to get a bit more information on what it is that I'm looking at before actually bidding on them. But anyway, regardless of that, it's here now, it's on the drive. In the next sort of few weeks we're going to look at, obviously initially just sort of investigating anything in terms of bodywork, mechanical sort of things that are new, because there are a couple of new things, as I say, or new to me, that I wasn't aware of, that we're going to have to consider and get some additional parts, etc. for now. Once we've done that, we'll then obviously move on to the fun bit, essentially stripping the car and hopefully making some quick, or getting some quick wins. We're getting same coloured panels wherever I possibly can. So I'm hoping that we won't actually have to do any paint work, that side of things. With some of the areas we might have to do. If we have to, we have to, but where I can avoid it, I'm going to look to try and avoid it wherever possible. So yeah, with that, go and have a walk around tomorrow and figure out what the steps are. So it's a Jag XJ, 66 plate, so it's a facelift model, 3 litre diesel, and it's the R Sport. So plan on this one is that I'm actually going to have a go at getting this one fixed up, and I'll use it as my daily, essentially. It could be a really nice car, obviously. At the minute there's quite a bit of damage. I'm hoping the back here with suspension being dropped, I'm hoping that's just because it's flat battery and it's not been ran for a long time, so fingers crossed the air suspension at the back on this will lift back into position when we get it running. The front end's no air suspension, it's actual coils on the front, so that's why that's not dropped. In terms of the damage, there's a little bit of a dent on the back quarter here. You can't really see it on the pictures, but we have got some bits of dents on either side here, so I don't know what the hell has gone on there, to be honest. Something else that was a bit new as well, which I can't work out at the minute, is right hand exhaust tip for some reason is pulled in. So when we get underneath the car, we'll have a look at that, find out what's going on there as well. There's another one of them on the list that I wasn't really aware of. Coming round to this side, this is where the damage is really, that I knew about anyway. The driver's door. So I've actually already gone and ordered and got a new second-hand driver's door for that, and the wing as well, as obviously no salvaging that. State that's in. Carl has said he might be able to save this bonnet for me, which is a massive help. So yeah, it's just this bit of damage here where it's had obviously the impact, and then headlight's completely gone, and we may be salvaging as well the bumper. Unfortunately, like the front aprons or splitter pieces, whatever you want to call them, they've gone, and they're not easy to get hold of, I'm finding out now. Certainly getting them second hand at least, so yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Obviously grille have gone, and this has actually got the 360 camera, which is I wasn't aware of, which is really nice to have on that. And moving back to the lights, obviously someone spec'd this out quite well. This actually is meant to have the AFS system, which is like the adaptive lighting system, so it's got that. The bloody light I've ordered, got a bit quick with it, ordered one up when I seen one come second hand, and yeah, mine's not got that, so might be sending that back or trying to see if there's a way of retrofitting it in, but we'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
And then yeah, in terms of the other bits of damage that were not known or described, is steering rack on this side snapped, and then, as I say, oil leak, which we're going to have a look at in a minute and try and get it up in the air. So yeah, that's a bit of an overview of the car, where it is at the minute, and yeah, try and film some investigation works today and get it cleaned as well, so it doesn't look as tatty on the drive at least. Right, so first step, really, try and get some life into it. As I say, completely flat, so it's turned up. Obviously can't even lock the doors or anything like that because it's that flat. I think also the battery in the keys gone, but we'll see about that. Just brought over his boost pack, so managed to get a little bit of life in here, and obviously open the boot. So I've got brand new battery for this already, so I'll swap that over. Oh, and then obviously that then sorts us out in terms of the power issue.
Right, when changing a battery, one thing I'd always say is just double check all your dimensions of the actual battery. What the likes of Halfords, Euro car parts will do, they will match your battery, and most of the time it will be the correct battery that you need. But I have had the occasion where it's actually been that the terminals, so your positive and negative terminal, has been swapped over on the battery that I've actually received. So the issues you then have is when you're trying to get your connectors on there, you're not going to have enough length on them cables to swap them over to where they need to be. So really important that you do check that. And another one as well is the dimensions of the batteries as well. So the dimensions of some of the batteries that you might be told are going to be the correct ones, they could be smaller. Obviously, if they're smaller, they're not going to fit nicely in the cradle, and they're not going to be secure in your boot as well, which will be another issue that you might have. So yeah, I can't emphasize enough how important it is just to have a quick sort of measure up of those and double check obviously the terminal locations. So once the battery was in, it was a case of us just checking what was working electronically. I wanted to check all the soft closers on the doors were functional. Obviously we're going to be swapping the driver's door anyway, so it wasn't the end of the world if it wasn't, but it was nice to see that it was the case that it did work. In terms of the boot itself, so the boot we had a few issues with initially, and that was just a case of basically because the boot was left open when we did the battery change, we just had to manually shut the boot. As soon as we did that, we got functionality on the actual push button for the electronic closure and on the inside of the boot lid, so that was a nice easy quick win on that one. And I will just apologise for the motion sickness anyone may be feeling right now. It was a very windy day when we did this, so the stand that I've got my phone mounted on was swaying back and forth. Hopefully you can put up with it.
Going inside the car, so as you can see 65.9, so 66,000 miles on it, and then now we've fired it up. So we've got the engine light on, which might just be on, to be fair, because we've not started the car up. And obviously tyre, light, and then batteries, seat belts, diesel exhaust, washer fluid. There's a few things on there coming up. Not really sure how to move the functions on this yet, to be honest, so we'll see what it does. Is that going through? There we go. So yeah, they're kind of what's showing at the minute anyway. Other than that, as I say, this could be a really nice car. We just need to try and work out what's going on.
So what we wanted to basically do is get the car up in the air on that passenger front side, find out what was going on with that wheel, why it wasn't sitting flush and straight, and yeah, we got it up, and as you can see, it's wobbling about straight away.
So looking at the damage to the wheel and why the wheel's sort of flopping about, and it made it a nightmare to get it on the drive. You can see track rod is completely snapped, so we're just going to make sure get some part numbers for that and make sure I get the right one, because I don't want to do what I did with the headlight and end up with the wrong bloody part again.
So once we'd worked out that the inner tie rod there is completely sheared and there's not much we could do with that on the day, other than obviously odd the part up, it was moving on to try and find out what was going on in terms of the oil that was everywhere in the engine bay and on the back of the trailer as well, when when the car arrived, that was full of oil for some reason. So yeah, it was a bit of a worry. Obviously didn't want to start the car without knowing if there was any oil in there in the first place. And unfortunately on these new cars you don't get your dipsticks, so it's a case of you've got to start the car, you've got to have it warmed up before it'll tell you whether there is oil in there or not. So yeah, protocol for me was to get all the under trays off, try and have a good look and see whether there's any obvious leaks, and then what we'll do further down the line is drop the oil and go from there in terms of seeing what comes out of it, what state it's in, how much comes out of it, and we'll probably just whack some new oil in there while we're at it before we actually try and fire it up.
So, got the under trays off now, and yeah, obviously you can see hell of a lot of oil on there. So what I'm gonna have to try and find out is where the hell that's come from. But yeah, it's not good. Certainly not something I was expecting to get involved in. I was hoping to stay away from any mechanical issues. But here we go. That's where we're at. Right, so glasses on, and got a few different products. I'm basically going to try degrease the bottom of here, get rid of all the oil that's sitting at the minute, and then hopefully that'll give me a better chance of finding where the actual leak is coming from, because currently it kind of sprayed all over the base, and to be fair as well, it's up in the top end of the engine as well, so I'll give that a good spray as well. I'm probably gonna, to be honest, spray most of these products on here, because I'm not sure which one's going to be the best. This isn't Spray and Shine from Car Plan. This is a bit degreaser that I've got out of something else, but it should do the trick initially. Engine foam degreaser, I say, I know from using this on previous cars, this is really good stuff, so it's dead easy. Just spray it on, let it sit for a while, and then basically either give it a good rub or just completely clean it off. But yeah, we'll see how much of this stuff I can get off, get cleaned up, and hopefully I'll be able to see a bit better then. So just sprayed a little bit. Actually, when I took the lid off, there's not much oil in here, the top end, so I think it's just from them filling it up where they spilt a little bit. What I'm going to do whilst waiting for the degreaser to sort of sit for a while down at the underneath the car, I'm going to give it a good clean on the outside, and also don't think I'm going to bother doing the wheels, because I think realistically obviously needs new tyres on slicks here at the minute, the front end, but I think it's probably going to make more sense. I'd prefer some different wheels anyway, to be honest. It's probably going to make more sense for me to buy wheels and tyres, or alloys and tyres if you like, and just swap them over that way, and then I'll just sell these as they are to try and recoup some money back from that. And if that goes to plan, theoretically it'll end up costing me less than getting a set of 4 tyres. Checked the brakes earlier as well, and I've actually got good brakes all round, so that's another potential expense. I know when I had the Audi A8, even to do myself, I think it cost about 300 or 400 quid to get discs and pads all round. I don't know whether that is the case with the Jags as well, but yeah, I'm glad I'm not going to have to find that one out.
So it was just a case of getting to it, giving it a good clean, nothing special, just wanted to get the dust and grime off of it that it obviously accumulated whilst being sat in the yard at Copart for some time, and just make it look a little bit more presentable whilst it was sat on the driveway. It's not my driveway. He's actually over at my grand's. She was really kind, just let us, or let me, should I say, use this space to turn this around and get this car back on the road as soon as possible.
A lot of people probably would have been a bit worried about what I was doing then in terms of cleaning the engine bay, but I'm obviously not going to run it for probably a week, maybe even 2, while we get everything sorted. As you can see now, hell of a lot cleaner under here, just for us working on and trying to obviously suss out that oil leak as well. So obviously by the time it comes up to running it, it will have dried out anyway. I'm always keen to keep a nice clean engine bay, so for me, just doing that makes me a bit happier, seeing the engine bay like that. I am still a little bit worried. The cleaner have got the actual body of the car. Probably the worst it looks, really. This was a previous kind as well, so a lot of these panels like this, absolutely hideous. I don't know what's happened to like the windows and things like that, but obviously I'm not by any means like a qualified valeter, but that's as good as I'm going to get it for now. It's just clean it up for when we're working on it, make it look a bit nicer, because at the minute this is on my grand's drive, so try and make it not look as bad sat on her drive, even though the damage obviously you could see. And then yeah, it's you can even tell by the way it's drying on here. It's not in good shape, this paintwork, but you never know. Hopefully I'll speak to someone about that and might be able to sort of give it a good polish at the end once we've done some of the repair works, and then go from there. Hopefully that'll give it a bit more gloss, a bit more shine, and it is meant to be metallic as well. Obviously it's a dull day today, but hopefully we'll get all that back when we do that. Otherwise, I guess I'll be learning how to wrap or sending it for a respray, which again, not really what I wanted to do, but we've got it now, so it needs to be right, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
So just finishing up editing now, and obviously I didn't do an outro for this video at the time, so we've got it to the stage where everything's as clean and tidy as possible. We've done a bit of investigation works, didn't want to start it up without knowing that we've got decent oil in there, and that's the next port of call essentially for us. Is essentially what we'll do is we'll drop the oil, find out what's in there, what kind of condition it's in there, put some new oil in there, then we'll press go on it and we'll see if it fires up. Hopefully it will do. Obviously we've done the electrical things now in terms of the battery. There's no airbags that have gone off, so that's a bit of a worry. Doesn't seem to have an issue with like a pyro fuse or anything like that, but again, we might just have to do a bit of investigation works there, and hopefully we've got a decent sort of engine in there, and then we can take it from there and go. But yeah, if you have watched this video to the end, then give us a thumbs up, and please feel free to subscribe. It really help the channel obviously, and hopefully in the next video I'll be showing you a running and driving Jag, not just an expensive ornament on the drive that isn't even in that good a shape at the minute. So thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.